Today, we're diving into the absolutely epic story of Nalanda University. We're talking about the intellectual heart of ancient Asia, a place of learning that literally vanished for 700 years, and a legacy that, believe it or not, is now being reborn. But let's start with a big what if. Just think about this for a second. What if the greatest university of the ancient world, a beacon of knowledge that shone for 1,000 years, had never been destroyed? What incredible things might we know today that have been lost to time? To give you some perspective, right, we think of universities like Oxford and Bologna as being ancient, and they are, but they were founded in the 11th century. Nalanda? It was already a buzzing, thriving center of learning way back in the 5th century. That's over 500 years earlier. It was completely in a league of its own. So let's jump back in time to its golden age and really see what made this place so legendary. You know, the incredible thing is, its entire mission was baked right into its name. In Sanskrit, Nalanda literally means an unstoppable flow of knowledge. It wasn't just a place to study, it was a philosophy. Knowledge was meant to be boundless, unstoppable. And this wasn't just some building. No way. Nalanda was a full-blown city of learning. Picture this, a massive complex made of these beautiful red bricks, with 8 separate compounds, countless temples, lecture halls, and even these serene lakes and parks. It was said that from the outside, it looked like a fortress, basically guarding all the knowledge that was kept inside. And this incredible campus wasn't just for locals. Oh no, it became a magnet, pulling in the brightest minds from all across the ancient world. And get this, the sheer scale of it was just mind-blowing for the time. At its peak, Nalanda was home to 10,000 students and 2,000 teachers. This was a truly international hub, with people traveling from China, Tibet, Korea, even Persia, just to study there. So you might be wondering, how did you get in? Well, it wasn't easy. Admission was based purely on your smarts. There were no applications to fill out. Your first hurdle was an oral exam with the gatekeeper. And this wasn't just some security guard. He was a famous scholar in his own right, whose job was to weed out anyone who wasn't up to Nalanda's standards. Only if you could impress him did you get to face a whole panel of professors. And if you think that's an exaggeration, listen to this. The famous Chinese traveler, Xuanzang, who's actually one of our main sources on what Nalanda was like, was totally humbled when he arrived. He wrote, and I'm paraphrasing here, "I thought I was a pretty learned guy, but this gatekeeper's knowledge is way beyond mine." Wow. Now, you might think a place like this would only teach religion, but you'd be wrong. While Buddhist philosophy was a core subject, the curriculum was incredibly diverse. Students were studying medicine, astronomy, architecture, you name it. Its mathematics department was even led by the legendary Aryabhata, a pioneer of the concept of zero. This was a full-on education in the arts and the sciences. And at the very heart of Nalanda, the crown jewel was its library. It was called Dharma Gunj, which means mountain of knowledge. And it was, quite literally, a mountain. We're talking about a 9-story-high complex that held over 900,000 handwritten manuscripts. It was, without a doubt, the greatest collection of knowledge anywhere in the world. For over 700 years, this unstoppable flow of knowledge just kept going. But, as we all know, golden ages don't last forever, and this one was about to end in the most sudden, violent, and tragic way imaginable. Now, Nalanda had seen conflict before. It had actually been attacked twice before and was rebuilt each time, bigger and better. But the third attack, in 1193, by an invader named Bakhtiyar Khilji, well, this one was different. This one was final. And the story of how it all came crashing down is just steeped in this bitter, tragic irony. So Khilji gets really sick, and his own doctors can't do a thing. He's told that only a scholar from Nalanda can cure him. So he summons the head scholar, a man named Rahul Sridhadra, but gives him this impossible condition. You have to cure me, but you can't use any medicine. The scholar agrees and simply gives Khilji a Quran, telling him to read a few pages every day. What Khilji didn't know was that the scholar had coated the edges of the pages with a clear, odorless medicine. So every time Khilji licked his finger to turn a page, he was dosing himself. And it worked. He was cured. But instead of being grateful, he was furious. He was humiliated that these scholars had knowledge so far beyond his own court. And he decided then and there that the source of that knowledge had to be utterly destroyed. So Khilji's army stormed Nalanda.
Their primary target? The library. And it's more than 900,000 priceless, one-of-a-kind manuscripts. They slaughtered the monks and the scholars, and they set fire to everything. For 3 long, agonizing months, the mountain of knowledge burned. Centuries of work on math, astronomy, logic, and medicine, all of it just turned to ash. The intellectual light of Asia was snuffed out.
And after the fires went out, Nalanda was just gone. It was abandoned, left to crumble, and eventually the earth just swallowed it whole. It was forgotten for centuries.
I mean, think about this gap. It was destroyed in 1193, and its ruins weren't even properly identified until 1861. That's a gap of almost 700 years, where Nalanda was more of a legend than a real place. But the story doesn't end in ruins. In 2014, a brand new Nalanda University opened its doors, marking an incredible rebirth.
So, you have to ask, right? After all that destruction, after centuries of being buried and forgotten, what is the actual legacy of a place that was literally wiped off the map?
Well, here's the thing. You can burn buildings, you can destroy manuscripts, but you can't kill an idea once it has started to spread. This quote from the Dalai Lama says it all. The knowledge from Nalanda had already been carried across Asia by its students and teachers. It became the foundation for entire schools of thought like Tibetan Buddhism, which meant its intellectual DNA survived the fire. And that brings us full circle, right back to today. Just a few kilometers away from those ancient ruins, the new Nalanda University is standing, carrying on that 1,500-year-old mission to be a global hub for knowledge, connecting our past with our future.
But it does leave us with one last, kind of haunting question to chew on. What exactly was lost in those ashes? What medical cures, what mathematical theorems, what philosophical truths were we on the verge of discovering? How might our world and our whole understanding of it be different today if that mountain of knowledge had never, ever fallen?